and protection of the highest powers. In lonely hours, the tears devour you. Well, I wanna stand with you on a mountain. I wanna bathe with you in the sea. I wanna lay like this forever until the sky Live your life to the full with a lifetime of smiles. Made us know right from wrong, always knowing a lie. You made us be tough, but never too rough. Rise above's what you said, never easily led. And one day we'll all sing along, 'cause this is your song. We wrote it for you. It won't take all day, just a minute or two. You were our friend, walked with you till the end. And one day we'll all sing along, 'cause this is your song. So we'll try and go on, loving all that we know. Through the hardest of times, you put on a show. You made us stand tall when all around us would fall. Even when you were low, you believed you could fly. And one day we'll all sing along, 'cause this is your song. We wrote it for you. It won't take all day, just a minute or two. You were our friend, walked with you till the end. And one day we'll all sing along, 'cause this is your song. And one day we'll all sing along, 'cause this is your song. I wrote it for you. It'll take all our lives just to help us get through. You were our friend, walked with you till the end. And one day we'll all sing along. And one day we'll all sing along.
afternoon, everybody. We're here today to celebrate the life of Romea Johnston. And in true Romea fashion, we're going to do things our way. My name is Marlon, and as the eldest child of Romea and Anthony, it's an incredible honour to be before you all today. We have a room full of family and friends, people who have travelled from all over the country to be here. We appreciate all of you. Thank you. For all that couldn't make it, there are plenty of people in attendance via live stream. Austin is in attendance via that stream. We love you, mate. The Smithton Football Club have offered their time today to run the bar. Thank you. The Circular Head Rec will help with catering, and the catering service has been provided by Cottage Kitchen. Thank you. The team at Parkside, Brennan, you've been incredibly easy to deal with in this incredibly difficult time. Thank you. For all the messages, letters, kind words, meals, cartons of beer and flowers, thank you. Thank you all. I'd also like to thank with absolute sincerity the staff at the Launceston General Hospital, particularly those in the oncology ward, as well as the team of nurses here in Smithton. All of the people involved in Mum's diagnosis, treatment, and ultimately her last few days of comfort. You're all truly incredible people. Thank you. As the formalities conclude this afternoon, we invite you to stay, share memories, laughs, and no doubt raise a glass to celebrate the 102 years we were blessed to have Mum on this earth. At this time, I'd like to invite one of Mum's nieces, Nikori Poposky, forward. She's going to come and read the Lord's Prayer and bless us here today. Thank you, Nikori.
Thank you. If you would like to follow along and read with me, the Lord's Prayer can be found inside the program. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Would you please join me in praying a blessing over this time? Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you that we can gather together to celebrate the life of Auntie Romea Johnston. I thank you for all those who are here today, both in person and online. It is a testament to the impact and influence that Romea had on the lives of so many. I pray that we all may know your peace and feel your presence, both today and into the future, as we remember and cherish the life of this beautiful, strong-willed, passionate, loving woman. We ask that you would bless this service today, Lord, as we honour and celebrate a daughter, wife, mother, sister, aunt, and friend. May she rest in peace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Nikori. Now, to ensure that everyone here isn't confused, yes, I did say 102 years. If you don't know this, you could be considered a lucky one, but everyone else would know that Mum, Romea, was the epitome of talking underwater with a mouthful of marbles. She spoke at double speed, drank twice as much as anyone should, was always running around chasing drama, or creating it perhaps. And I think we're all comfortable here today to know she fit it all in the way that she wanted to. She lived as hard and as fast as she felt she needed to, extremely selflessly as a wife, a friend, a mother. And when I ran my calculator over all of that, the 51 years of life doubled pretty quickly. She crammed enough in to be 102. Mum didn't do anything in halves. She left nothing in the tank. Mum's sisters, Tomoe and Ara, are going to come forward to share their best recollection of Mum in her early life, and then Kira and I will continue with some stories, share some memories of Mum guiding us through our childhood into adulthood. Tomoe and Ara.
We wanted to start with a public service announcement. Tamoe, Romea and I have attended many funerals together where we've ended up in tears of laughter, sometimes uncontrollably, often noisy,
Probably inappropriately.
and would usually end with our aunties frowning at us and telling us to shush. Our embarrassed mother would lay the stern words on us afterwards and threaten to separate us in future. Therefore, as we tell a few light-hearted stories, we hope that you can picture a young Romea living her best life, and please feel free to have a chuckle. She would expect that because that's what she'd do. It is an absolute honour for us to share memories about our darling baby sister. We all know at her time of passing, according to Romea, she was only 21 years of age.
Plus 30.
It would be no surprise for anyone to hear that she was born in a flying hurry. In fact, Mum said Dr. Ladd arrived just in time to catch Romea as she was being delivered. Romea waited for no man. You are with her or you miss out. Being in a hurry is how she began her life, lived her life, and fought for her life. A beautiful girl at full speed, making the most of every opportunity. Although she was not in a hurry to leave us. If she could, she would have stayed a good while longer because she loved her family and her friends, and she had so much stuff to do and people to look after. That's our Mare, always looking out for everyone else above herself. Romea Dawn was the third and final daughter to join the Murray family, our little Tassie Island girl who really believed she belonged at Aotearongi, Rarotonga. Born in 1975, sorry Mare, the cat's out of the bag and your real age is finally revealed.
51.
Born to Valerie Dawn and Tainakori Carveri. Dad wanted to name her Romea after his island foster sister he grew up with in Raro. Mare was the 30th and final grandchild of the Lockley family, and she loved her special title. All other 29 grandchildren knew it, and somehow she became the boss of everyone. Maybe it was all the noise she made. Romea loved cousin catch-ups and sleepovers at our auntie's. Although we excitedly collected Romea from the Smithton Hospital, us sisters always told Romea we adopted her from China. Growing up, we would have her in tears. She would run to Mum crying and we would get in trouble. As an adult, Romea rejoiced over the idea that she was adopted and not actually related to us. Romea was the most adorable baby and we loved her from the start. Our mother says she was a good baby and would sleep for up to 8 hours at a time. Right from a toddler, she followed us around a lot and wanted to be everywhere we were. She would look up at us with that cheesy, cheeky grin of hers, squinty eyes, and her thick black hair sticking up. We were always watchful of her, even though we teased her a lot.
Romea was soaking in the bath one time. She would have been about 3 or 4 when Dad came in and stuck a live crayfish in the bath with her. Oh, the poor little thing jumped, screamed. She was petrified. This gave her a fear of crayfish for quite some time, probably until she snagged a keen fisherman for herself.
I recall how happy Mare was when she finally was old enough to walk to the library with Tamoe and I. She always wanted to come with us, but was too little to walk all the way from Brook Street and back. Finally, she got her big girl opportunity. She just had to keep holding both our hands and walking in the middle of us, her big protective sisters. Plus, we'd get into trouble if anything happened to her on our watch. We used to go oystering with Dad when we were little. One time, Mare went on her own with Dad and his mate. Apparently, they forgot to take water bottles with them, which was unusual. So when Mare was thirsty, she was told by Dad to have a little sip of beer. But one sip wasn't going to quench the thirst of our active Romea. So unbeknownst to Dad, she ran with the permission to be swigging out of that beer bottle and had many a sip throughout the day. We will never forget when they arrived home that night and Romea stumbled in the back door saying, "Hi Mum, I'm drunk." We thought she was just acting until she keeled over flat on her back. Now this would be a funny story except for the fact that Romea was only 6 years old. Tamo and I prayed and sat by her bedside because we thought she was dying. She was in bed with a hangover for almost 2 weeks. That time it was Dad who was in big trouble with Mum.
Mare also loved going fishing with Dad. We often went to the Stanley Wharf. She would get up early and sit in the dark with her rod, waiting to catch the big one. Dad worked at Carry Timber, so on the weekends we got to go with him to the Stanley Mill. We loved playing in and around the mill and at the base of the nut. We used the thick tally chalk for our games on the blackboards, and Dad would growl at us when we mucked up the timber he'd already tallied. Romea helped herself to the kiln once. That was out of bounds. But Mare wasn't a girl who rode the boundary lines. But wasn't Mare a girl who rode the boundary lines from time to time? And we admired her for it. She was always the brave one out of the 3 of us.
As youngsters, Tamo and I received cassette players and Romea only got a pocket radio. She really wanted our tape recorders. We used to tape things to tease her and we'd hide the cassette player under her bed and scare her. Nightmare! Again, she would run out to the lounge room screaming for Mum and we would get in trouble, but we would say quite innocently we were only saying goodnight to her.
Growing up with sisters like us, you don't need to wonder why she had to be so fierce and strong.
As young girls, we easily entertained ourselves playing Queenie, backyard cricket, wars with Mum's kindling sticks, cartwheels across the lawn and handstands against the fence. We would count to see who could take the blood to the head for the longest, and it was usually Mare. We always played neighbourhood games with all the kids around the block. Us sisters loved singing with our hairbrushes for microphones, into the mirror of course, and we thought we were the Pointer Sisters. One of our favourite songs was Should I Do It? One of the lines says, "Is it crazy? Is it right?" And if you asked Mare, she would say, "Just do whatever you want."
On rainy days, we were allowed to play inside if we were quiet. Can you imagine the Murray girls being quiet? Sometimes we would make a game in the passageway. We would make it pitch black dark and crawl around the edges, trying not to get caught. In the evenings, we would sit either side of Dad while he watched his Doctor Who and make eye contact, moving backwards and forwards, giggling at each other. You guessed it, we couldn't play quietly.
Once we were playing under the house at a friend's place and we heard a thump. Mare ran out to the footpath and discovered a little ginger kitten had been hit by a car. She went and picked it up, even though we told her not to because it was dead. She cuddled this little thing and brought it back over to where we were. It had poo and goo coming out of it, but she was determined to help. She absolutely stunk from coddling that kitten, and I think we threw out her red tracksuit. But that sums up Mare. She would do everything she could to help anything and anyone, even when it cost her and seemed impossible to everyone else.
I'm sure there are many of you here today who can attest to that.
We were so envious one Christmas when Romea received a brand new roadster bike. It had a long black seat, 2 of us could easily fit on it, and on a rare occasion all 3 of us would get on. That thing was as good as riding a Harley, and boy, she enjoyed peacocking up and down the neighbourhood on that. Can't you just picture her with a big grin? She would close her eyes and let go of the handlebars, cruising up Brook Street.
Too blessed to be stressed.
Mare attended Smithton Primary and High School, when she actually went to high school. Mare told Mum it was wasting her time sitting there. She wasn't being told anything she didn't already know. Romea was self-educated and would find out everything she needed to pretty quickly.
Before Google was even invented.
Mare's Year 1 teacher messaged me a couple of days ago to say what fond memories she has from teaching Romea and her class. Things might have changed by high school, as I asked one of her closest high school mates, they were inseparable at the time, for some stories, but she said there weren't many stories suitable for public disclosure. You might need to catch up with Judith later.
When Mia was 15, she became an auntie. She called into the hospital at Burnie the very next day to meet her niece before taking off on her first overseas trip to Rarotonga with Dad. They were gone for 6 weeks, and Romea had the best time with all our island family. She tried climbing coconut trees with her cousins and had lots of adventures. This trip certainly started her heart for Arawangi, Rarotonga. If you're Facebook friends with her, you would know that is where she came to live.
As a teen, Mare worked at Squamander's and other restaurants and fast food places. She taught us sisters to make a proper souvlaki and gave us many other cooking tips as she learned them. Her sausage rolls were always a crowd favourite. Hospitality was certainly an area of interest for Romea because she was always good with food and people. She talked to anyone and could multitask, cooking their food while sharing good yarns, helping to solve their problems and just being an encouragement to others. She talked to and accepted everyone. Around that time, Mare soon caught the eye of a dashing young lad from Stanley, and it was wonderful to welcome Anthony into our family. He got the interrogation from Dad, just like the other son-in-laws. When Anthony first showed up at the house to meet our family, he knocked on the door, and to his dismay, Dad answered. He said, "I'm Anthony Johnston, and I'm here to see Romea." Dad said, "No, you're not," and slammed the door. There could have been a few swear words in there too, knowing Dad, but you'll have to check with Anthony.
Obviously, Romea had words with her father and sorted him out, because the rest is history.
Anthony and Roger were the ones who took Romea and Dad to the airport, ready for their journey to Rarotonga in 1990. Although she was having the time of her life, she was terribly lovesick over those 6 weeks because her and Anthony had not long been dating and their love was just starting to blossom. I was proud to stand beside Romea and Anthony, along with Anthony's brother Dean, on the day they married 32 years ago in the Walters' beautiful garden at Stanley. On behalf of the Murray family, we would like to say thank you to Peter and Lynette, Mr. and Mrs. Johnston, and to all your family. Thank you for the way you embraced Romea, you loved her, and you made her a Johnston. She was so proud to belong to your family. She adored you all, and we know that. We cherished our little sister and have the most beautiful memories. We did so much together throughout our lives, helped each other with our children, and even went in on each other's births when we could. Romea was with me when I had 2 of my children, and I was there to see Bodie William enter the world. We talked or messaged each other pretty much every day, and our recent trip to Rarotonga last November is one of our most favourite, precious adventures, especially when Romea dressed up as a cat burglar and chased roosters with a meat cleaver.
She is certainly her father's daughter. We just can't imagine life without her.
Rest peacefully in the arms of Jesus, our baby sister. We love you. Dad taught us to say this in Rarotongan. Ina naro au akoi te atua te aroa. Thank you.
Four kids under 4. I don't know why you do that to yourself, but in saying that, we sure do appreciate Mum and Dad giving us lifelong friends in each other. Nothing will ever break that bond that we as siblings share today. When we were kids, we moved around a little bit, from farm to farm and house to house. In town, Irish town, Tagarian Forest. Forest is where we spent the majority of our lives together as a family. And even when the moving stopped, one of the fondest memories we have from our childhood was the excitement we got from coming home from school and Mum had shuffled our bedrooms in a new configuration. That small detail created so much excitement for bedtime. Now I think about it, she might have been a bit more tactical than we thought.
You'd know Mum had been at your house, even if you weren't family. She'd always leave the toilet paper folded in a neat triangle. She loved her twisties, lollygobble bliss bombs, and Cadbury Roses chocolates. She was more than capable of having a 10-minute conversation in two. She hated her feet being touched, but needed a pedicure more than anyone I know. She kept one long fingernail on her thumb for whenever she might have needed it, more valuable than a pocket knife to her. Mum always kept notes on serious conversations so that she could hold it against you in 3 years' time. We had a lot of trouble finding all the photos for today. As most of you would know, she was always bloody talking through them. Over her life, Mum worked a lot of different jobs, some here and there stuff, but mostly hospitality and admin. Another fond memory of ours is when she had a very short stint working at Smith & Video, the original Netflix, if you will. The excitement of going in there when Mum was on shift and picking out whatever we wanted, typically the same thing every time, knowing we didn't have to pay gave us so much freedom. These tiny, insignificant moments are now flooding memories, and we look forward to replaying them for years to come. A tail note on this story, Bodie and Austin were always quietly found in the R-rated section. Not much has changed. A big chunk of our childhood was spent on the mountain. We spent years at Trewada Football Club, Dad as the head coach, and Mum as the head of whatever else needed doing. We vividly remember the car trips, early mornings, late nights, and a bloody double-sided tape with Avril Lavigne on one side and Savage Garden on the other. Mum always had a notepad in the canteen for us to come and take whatever we liked. Write it down and I'll fix it up later, she would say. I'm not sure how much of that notepad Marlon, Bodie or Austin actually used. I have a feeling we had hundreds of Zing Pop Tops and packets of mixed lollies for free over the years.
An example of ask for forgiveness and not permission came one weekend when Mum was away for some reason. She was away overnight. We'd pitched the idea of pouring a slab and installing cricket nets in the front yard for months. She wasn't having it, it was flat out no. We did it anyway. A string line, rotary hoe, a few shovels, a stealth-like concrete truck, and it was done. Mum got home and she was furious. The product wasn't perfect, but it was the best that two blokes with no idea could do. It was Dad and Pop for reference. The amount of time we spent playing cricket and hockey on those 20 square metres of concrete and synthetic turf simply can't be replicated by any toy or video game of today. Whether it was playing cricket into the night or us three boys bashing Kira in any other sport we played, turning her into the strong, independent woman she is today, God, we spent some time out there. Sorry about that, Josh.
One thing we never did was wake Mum if she had slept in on a school day. This wasn't a regular occurrence, but if we had the opportunity to be late for school, we'd let it slide. Not even for being late to school's sake, but because we knew she wouldn't have time to make our lunch. And for us, there was nothing better to set up your day than a takeaway lunch last minute from Jules or Sadie's, picking out a freshly made chicken salad sandwich or roll. And if we were lucky, a lolly or a packet of butter menthol lozenges. Best days of our lives. At the time, anyway.
If we jump forward a few years, we all went into the working world and started leaving the nest. Mum and Dad had individual views on this. I left when I was 16, came back a few months later just to visit. My bed was gone. The writing was on the wall from Dad. Mum, though, up until just a couple of weeks ago, would cry every single time I left. And for context, I've lived out of Circular Head longer than I've actually lived in it. Those tears every single time, that's a mother's love.
Mum and Dad did, and still do, what all parents do. They gave us everything we needed, almost everything we ever wanted, and made sure we had every opportunity to be successful, whichever direction we wanted to go. This part of parenthood comes with no return on investment, or at least that's what I thought until we all became parents. The infinite joy Mum got from becoming nanny nuts was truly something special. I'm sure plenty of people here today have had their ears chewed off talking about all of her grandchildren. Jacoby was first, Freddie followed, then Aubrey, Franklin and Noah. All of us kids had firstborn boys. That's pretty special. Another army of protectors for Nanny, all within 2 years of each other. Christmas is going to be interesting in a few years. Aubrey May, the first and only granddaughter. Although she's as tough as any of the boys surrounding her, she'll always have her cousins to protect her.
Tommy and Kai joined most recently to carry the Johnston name, and another baby Swindon isn't too far away. When we watch her with her grandchildren, knowing that's exactly how she was with us, it brought so much joy. Mum loved every single one of those tiny humans so much. I've seen it. I came home one week in December last year to 6 boxes filling our hallway. Bloody trampoline with nowhere for it to go. Thanks, Nanny. I've heard it. Noah and Kai have every instrumental type toy ever made. Nothing like Romea to test us with noisemakers. Thanks, Nanny. I've felt it. Jacoby and Aubrey were brought home from the hospital where Mum was with them at birth to the same home full of love we were as kids. I take so much comfort knowing that they had the exact same start to their precious little lives as we did. Thanks, Nanny. I've watched Kira replicate it as well. The love, guidance and protection Kira shows Franklin and will continue to show her children as her and Josh's family grow is exactly the way Mum was with us. God help anyone who gets on the wrong side of her. She's a smarter version of Mum. And if you've ever seen the wrong side of Romea, you'll know not to piss Kira off. Austin and Mum had a great relationship, a really strong bond. On the surface, it wasn't always pretty, but when Austin needed to hear the truth, Mum would give it to him. He respected her position on everything. They had such a strong relationship. And when things weren't aligned, they'd call each other Gwen. G-W-E-N. If you slow it down and do the math, Gwen, go and get, you get the message. They knew where they stood with each other, but no matter what, as much as they tested each other, they loved each other even more. Austin, remember, mate, bigger picture. A lot of people measure success in life by what they achieve, what they build, or what they leave behind. But for today, I've been thinking about what it means to be a successful parent. A lot of that success is shown in the people your children become. And if that's a measuring stick we're using, Mum knows she was incredibly successful. Anyone can have a child, but a mother gives her all to raise and shape her children through the good days and even more so through the grey days. There are things that Mum taught us directly and things she showed us without even saying a word. She was strong, she was stubborn, she was patient, every now and then, and she loved us probably more than we'll ever know.
So while it's important to sum up her life in words, I can say this. Her success is standing here. Her success is the 7 toddlers and babies crawling around every day, soon to be 8. Her success is all of us. The impact she had on our lives, that will never fade away.
At this time, we'd like to invite some people to come and say a few words and share some stories and hopefully laughs. Kira's conveniently here, so as Mum's favourite daughter, Kira will start.
Stubborn, selfless, caring, controlling, loving, and a little bit crazy. These are just a few of the words that describe Mum. It was always her way or the highway. When I read those words, it makes me laugh, because they're exactly how people would describe me too. I never really realised, or maybe I was just a little bit in denial, how much I really am like Mum. Even when I was being difficult, or in his words, a little bitch, Dad would say, "You're just like your mother." Mum was an absolute force to be reckoned with. There was no way you were ever going to win an argument with her. Well, not until she had a mini version of herself, and I started giving her a taste of her own medicine. Mum always put everyone else first, their problems, their achievements, whatever was going on in their lives. She was the first person people would call when they needed help, support, or just someone to listen to. And when I think about that, when people say I'm a mini Romea, I'm okay with it. Because Romea got shit done. And gosh, she cared for the people she loved. I was lucky enough to tell Mum everything I needed to before she left this world. I got to thank her for everything she has done for us. Mum raised me to the woman I am today. A daughter, a sister, a friend, a mother, and a wife. I told her that if I could be half the woman she was, then I would be okay. Mum, you built a village around us, a room full of incredible people who are here today to celebrate your life. I hope that you can rest easy knowing that you've given us the strength and the people to keep going without you, and we will be okay. I will tell my children about you always. I will make sure that they know how wonderful you were and how deeply you loved us. I'll look after our family, Mum, just as you did for 32 years. Rest peacefully. I'll forever love and miss you.
Mum's sisters-in-law, Sandra and Amanda.
Thanks, Marlon. Today we stand together as a family to honour someone who was never just part of us, but who became one of us in every way that mattered. Romea wasn't only our brother Anthony's wife, she was woven into the hearts of this very family. She was loved dearly by our parents, and Dad has said he will miss the quiet moments together, especially Romea rolling his smokes for him. She was cherished by her sister-in-laws, brother-in-laws, and partners. She wasn't to us a sister-in-law, she was like our sister and loved like a sister in every way. Also adored Auntie Mare of her nephews and nieces and their families, who all knew her as the fun, easygoing, cool auntie who always made them feel very special. She had a big way of bringing people together, whether it was a big family gathering, a celebration, or even our big family photos with around 50 of us. Romea was the organiser, the one who made sure no one was left out and that everyone was there in place, or look out, because that's who she was, someone who created a space for love, laughter, and togetherness. To our brother Anthony, our hearts are with you. The love you and Romea shared is something that will always be a part of this family, and we will stand beside you and carry that forward. To Marlon, Bodie, Kira and Ozzy, your mum was so deeply loved and so very proud of each of you. In your mother's own words, I'm very proud of the 4 kids we have raised, and I am happy if that's all I achieve in my life. Well, I've achieved far more than that, we all believe. You carry her in your strength, in your kindness, and in the way you love. We will always be here for you, just as she would want us to be. And Austin, you too, darling. She gave us so much of herself to this family, not in grand gestures, but in the countless little things that made life richer. Her presence, her effort, her warmth. We will miss her deeply. We will miss the gatherings she would have planned, the laughter she brought, and the way she held us all a little closer. Romea, thank you for loving our family the way you did. You will always be one of us. We will always carry you with us in our hearts, in our memories, and in everything we do. God bless you, Mary.
Now to share some more stories and hopefully a few laughs. One of Mum's dear friends, Jane Colgrave.
Firstly, my heartfelt sympathy and love to the family and extended family of the passing of your beautiful Romea. Thank you, Nuts, Marlon, Bodie, Ozzy and Kira for letting me share some memories for today. To sit and reflect on the friendship that Romea and I had made me think back over many, many years, back before kids. But when we become young mums for the first time, we leaned on each other a lot, and that's when our friendship grew to a whole new level. As the years went on and our families grew, having 7 kids between us, visiting each other became a regular thing. While the kids entertained each other, it allowed us to sit back, have a chat, and solve the problems of the world. Our lives got busier with the kids, their sport, and trying to fit our work in. The visits become a little bit further apart. Thank God for mobile phones. If it wasn't a phone call, it was a text message, and not just a few, full-blown essays, the kind that went on for days. I'm sure today a lot of memories will be shared, but here's a couple of mine. Romea wasn't one for exercise, but she didn't have to because she never sat bloody still. One day I was out walking. She drove past slowly, peering to see if it was me, wound down a window and asked what the hell was I doing? Get in. I had no choice. So, off to the Bridge Hotel bottle shop we went. Grabbed a can, sat at the Duck River, talked flat out, we were on limited time. Drank our cans and smoked a couple of durries. Then she dropped me back home laughing, and she asked me if that was the best walk I'd ever had, and that she introduced me to the new over 45s exercise regime. Another time, a group of us went to Hobart celebrating a few birthdays, Romea's included. We got a maxi taxi, heading into the city. We were all chatty, excited, peak hour traffic, and then all of a sudden the taxi driver hit the side of the Tasman Bridge. It rattled the van and us. When Nuts questioned the driver, he denied it. Well, Romea, she was absolutely fuming. A definite red flag was waved. She basically sat behind his seat like a Jack Russell, letting him know she wanted to see her birthday out. She was a mother of 4, and those kids needed her. She would haunt him if he killed us and make sure that he'd never drive a taxi again. And when we arrived, she made it quite clear that he wasn't getting any payment from her. I dare say he knocked off early and rocked in the fetal position that night after the dressing down she gave him. When I was moving to Hobart, she basically told me she was coming to help me do the final clean of the house. I thought, I better go and get a few nibblies and drinks to help us get through the few hours ahead. Romea arrived in true Romea style, ciggies, cans, the straw, and ready to roll. We went straight to the shed. We had to have a toolbox meeting before we started to work out a plan. But we got off track. We talked about 200 other topics, ate all the bickies and dip, smoked all the ciggies, drank all the cans. Not one rag, not one bucket, not one cleaning product was used that afternoon. But what I did get was a precious memory with a beautiful friend. She was one of a kind. She had a sixth sense. When someone needed someone, she was that someone. She would move mountains to be there by your side. She was loyal. She could talk fast and a lot. She was straight to the point. And those that she loved hard. As one of her many friends here today, I'm sure all our hearts are heavy. And I'm sure that we all feel very privileged that we have been part of Romea's life. And truly grateful for everything she showed us and taught us, especially since her diagnosis. Her resilience, her strength, her determination, her fight. It was something extraordinary. Romea, it breaks my heart to be having the last say today because you were so bloody good at doing that. But here it goes. May the Hawks win the 2026 Grand Final just for you. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the many years of friendship, the love, the support, the tears shared, the loud laughs, and all the wonderful memories. I love you. I will miss you, my dear friend, and I'll see you in the next life.
Now I'd like to welcome one of Dad's good mates, lifelong mate, Lee Eisman.
Today we gather with heavy hearts to say goodbye to someone who meant so much to all of us, Romea. It's never easy to put into words what a true friend is, but if we look around the room, we can see that reflected on all the faces here. Romea was that friend. She lived with that will do anything for anyone attitude to life, with a touch of fairness for all around the world. Romea was an amazing mum. The kids were always first. She encouraged their sporting interest, and Mum's soon-to-be state taxi service began. She was there for everyone, her family, her friends, her sisters, always up for a chat and make you feel welcomed. Romea was a straight shooter, always honest, always hard-working, with no BS and a great sense of humour to match. Romea and Anthony were the perfect combo. As a good man listens to his wife, especially when she's right 99.99% of the time. A 35-year loving relationship where both of these people grew together alongside each other, sharing patience, dedication and a joint sense of humour together. Romea took on life 100%, never short of a conversation, and sometimes a single look could say everything that needed to be said. She brought warmth, honesty, and a kind of presence that made people feel truly seen. She clearly loved her family and was fiercely protective of her friends. If you were in her circle, you knew it. You felt it. She stood by the people she loved with strength and loyalty that never wavered. Romea was a fantastic organiser at anything and everything. She had a way of bringing order to chaos and making things happen. Even throughout her last weeks with us, she was more concerned about how others felt, how people were going. That is who she was at her core. Always thinking of others, always putting care and compassion first. We will remember the laughter, the conversations, and the quiet understanding she could convey without words. The moments that seemed small at the time now feel incredibly significant. Grief is the price we pay for love, and the sorrow felt by us today reflects how deeply Romea was loved. But alongside that grief is also gratitude. I'm sure everybody is here today is more grateful for knowing Romea. And I'm a better person because of it. Though she is no longer here with us in the future the way that we wish, her spirit lives on in the lessons she has taught us, in the love she gave and how she brought people together. Let us honour Romea not only with our words today, but how we live in the future, by being a little kinder, a little more present, and a little more, a little more like the friend we were so lucky to know. Rest peacefully, Romea. You will be deeply missed, but never forgotten.
Another dear friend of Mum's we want to call on now, and I'm a bit worried about some of these stories, but Judith O'Halloran's coming up.
Thank you, Marlon. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Judith, and I was privileged to be part of Romea's life since we were teenagers. This will be the first opportunity in years that I get to speak without Romea talking over me, changing the subject, or interrupting me. And I'd sincerely like to thank her family for allowing me to share my memories of her. Our adventures started when we met in grade 7. I was the country kid and she was the townie. She played netball and I played hockey. Chalk and cheese, but we became best of mates. Together, we contributed to a lot of Gran's grey hair, and I'm truly sorry, Gran. I know watching us raise our own children gave you bittersweet karma. On numerous occasions, our parents attempted to separate us. We were seen as a bad influence on each other, and I cannot deny this. But together we shared a bond that not many people get to experience. For a long time, you'd have said we're inseparable. The Saturday night paper runs, sneaking out of Pap's retreat to parties, telling our parents we were staying at each other's houses, saving our lunch money all week to buy a packet of PJ20s at Oates' Milk Bar on a Friday afternoon. And at one point, we even shared a boyfriend. Don't worry, kids, it wasn't your dad. I'm sure our high school teachers had the same take on our friendship as our parents. Apparently, we were the only two girls who ever came back from cross-country filthy dirty. So our PE teacher hit us with a fire hose. We tried to blame Oscar, Daniel, Johnny and Matthew for getting us dirty. Our teacher didn't buy the story and kept us in at lunchtime to wash our clothes. Each PE lesson we had roll call. One particular day I muttered under my breath, Romea Maru, taking the piss out of our PE teacher who always mispronounced her name. This happened every week and Romea corrected her every occasion. This particular day Romea had had enough of me, so she hip and shouldered me and stood in the exact spot I'd been, only for a flock of seagulls to fly over and shit on her head and face. Somehow I got the blame for this, and then I got in trouble for laughing. Over the past week, I've reflected on the years of friendship we shared. It didn't matter if we spoke once a day, once a week, or once a month. Our friendship never changed. 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock in the morning, in good times and difficult times, we're each other's go-to. To not have you here supporting me in this difficult time is surreal. You always had a way of turning a negative into a positive, of seeing the best in everyone and lifting up the people you loved. I take pride in saying you were my friend. I feel privileged to have watched you and Anthony raise 4 incredible children into adulthood, each of them a reflection on your strength, your humour and your love. Romea, thank you for the laughter, the mischief, the loyalty and a lifetime of memories. Thank you for being my person through so many chapters of life. I'll miss you more than words can say, but I'll carry you with me in the stories, the lessons and the love you gave so freely. Rest easily, my beautiful friend. Thank you.
Now, Mum's favourite son's going to speak, and it's not me. But Austin and I are going to have to fight over number 2 spot here later on. Bodie.
That's my kid out the back making that noise too, by the way. Firstly, I'd just like to say a few thank yous. Firstly, I'd like to thank those people who have been there consistently, not only for Mum, but the rest of us 5 Johnstons. Whether it's been running around for Mum, sitting with Mum, always checking in, making sure that we had a set of ears to listen when needed, airport pickups, and more importantly, making sure there was always fresh food at home. I've never seen so many sausage rolls in my life. And we all know when I was home, nothing went to waste, aunties. The food did get eaten. I don't need to mention names, you guys know exactly who you are. All these people are people who we have considered family friends for all of our lives. Over the past 8 or 9 months, you guys have proven to us that you're not only family friends, but family. So thank you. Marlon and Kira for taking on the life admin role, tying up all the loose ends to make today happen, and making sure whatever Mum wanted, she got. Without you two, Dad and I would still be sitting around the fire pit drinking beers, trying to work out our next move. On a more personal note, my beautiful fiancée Courtney, I don't know why that kid's crying out the back, but you're obviously not doing what you're meant to be doing here. My beautiful fiancée Courtney, who has not only raised our 2 beautiful boys since Mum got diagnosed, but also put up with me physically not being there due to being back at home in Tassie with Mum. I think we can both agree, when I was physically there, mentally I wasn't. A lot of mood swings, angry at the world, and very lost within myself. It hasn't been easy for you either, even though over the past few months I haven't showed it, but the boys and I are forever grateful that you're our mama. I don't know whether you actually need to go and attend that out the back there or not. Mum, when I look at the amount of people in the room today, it proves to everyone what type of person you are. I don't think I can recall the time in our lives where Mum had put herself before anyone else. Even up until your last sleep, all you were worried about were making sure Dad and us 4 kids were sweet. I remember a night a few weeks back, I was sitting in the shed with Dad doing our thing. You had gone inside for a rest. Within about 15 minutes of going inside, you had walked back into the shed in quite a lot of pain and said, "Make sure that you two eat dinner." You'd think after 30 years you'd know that I wouldn't go to bed hungry. I'll never forget the time that I finally built up the courage to move to the UK to play cricket after putting it off for 2 years. While Dad pretty well helped me pack my bags because he couldn't wait to see the back of me, which I'm pretty sure that he had already calculated how much money he could save per week at Woolworths without me being there. Mum, on the other hand, done everything possible to try and talk me out of leaving. Probably why I put it off for 2 years prior. After going back and forth with Mum, where are we? After going back and forth with Mum trying to talk me out of it, she'd finally said, "I'm not worried about you moving overseas. I just don't know how you're going to get through airports and borders by yourself." As you can imagine, that filled 20-year-old me with a lot of confidence. I'd got to Melbourne International, where it was time to do some paperwork. Like clockwork, I rang Mum. She knew exactly what the call was for. Well, here I was expecting Mum to answer every question, more or less fill it out for me. She'd said, "You wanted to move away like a big boy? Told me you don't have drugs, guns or knives on you." Then hung the phone up. While I was completely pissed at Mum, it wasn't until about 2 years later I'd worked out that was Mum's way of teaching me some life skills. That was all well and good while I was away, but the moment I landed back in Tassie, like nothing had changed, straight away, Mum was back being my personal assistant. I've just realised I skipped half this first page here. Every family has a mummy's boy or a mummy's favourite. Well, I'm sure my 3 siblings will argue whose mum's favourite was, which we all know it was me, by the way. I think they will agree I was always and will forever be a mummy's boy. I remember the night I'd called Mum to tell her I'd found the one in Courtney. Mum was over the moon. Here I was thinking she was happy that a boy had found love. I soon worked out that wasn't the case after she said, "So does this mean she can take on your life admin, so after 25 years I can stop doing it?" Whenever I had some form of appointment and it come to paperwork, Mum always knew she had to sit close to the phone because at some point I was going to call her because either I couldn't think of the answer or I just couldn't read the question. Now Mum's proud knowing that court has to sit by the phone to answer the questions like, "What's our address again?" It doesn't matter who it was or where it was. If someone was in need, 99% of the time, Mum was always the first one there. Regardless of what she had on, I remember the evening I suffered a bleed on the brain where I knew within myself how bad the situation was. Marlon and I were living in Sydney at the time. I told Marlon, who was with me, I didn't want to tell Mum and Dad until we got the results, so they didn't panic, just in case, once again, I was being over the top. The results showed exactly what I thought. Sure as shit, within about 5 hours after ringing Mum and Dad, Mum and Kira were sitting at my bedside. Before taking him for surgery. I asked where Dad was, so we called him, and he said, "If they think you're going to cark it, ring me and I'll come up." I remember when I first moved to Sydney, every Friday I'd ring Mum and ask for some money to get me through until payday. It wasn't because things were expensive, I just wasn't all that good with money. Marlon. Here I was thinking I was pulling the wool over Mum because she had thought I was asking for food money. This money was just to fund the 2-day bender I was about to go on, which early doors moving to Sydney happened quite a bit. After about 2 months, like clockwork, I called Mum on Friday for her to answer the phone with, "Stop trying to live the life of the rich and the famous because you clearly aren't rich and you're only famous in your sleep." After copying it for about half hour, I still had the nerve to say, "So can I have a couple hundred?" She responded with, "You're lucky I believe in dying with memories, not money," and that's exactly what Mum has left us. While we didn't have all the fancy bells and whistles growing up, what we did have was endless memories, endless love, and once again, more importantly, food on the table. Although when the wooden spoon came out, it didn't scream love, it took me 20 years to work out that the tough love was the greatest gift Mum and Dad could ever give us. Nanny nuts. While us 4 kids have gone on to achieve some pretty amazing things in our short lives, I think everyone who knew Mum would agree that her proudest and greatest achievement in her life are her 7, soon to be 8 grandkids, who she loved and adored more than she did her own 4 kids, which is perfectly fine with me. The amount of toys and kid things she had at her house showed how much she loved all of our kids. I'm not too sure Poppy was all that thrilled that he'd finally got his 4 kids to move out for the house to be filled with more toys than what us 4 kids had all our lives. Well, it made it hard for Mum to be with Marlon and my kids as we lived in Sydney. Any major event, we always knew it wasn't a case of asking Mum to come, it was a case of sending her the dates and she would be there within a heartbeat. I know all the kids are going to miss you, Nanny Nuts, as much as we'll miss Mum. Every time I would text Mum, the message would end with me saying I love you, with her reply of I love you more. Naturally, I would say I love you more, which will lead to endless days of us texting each other saying I love you more. Mum would always throw in there, I promise you'll never win that game. Well, Mum, I love you more than you'll ever know and more than words can ever describe. Well, I know how lucky I am to have had the opportunity to tell you how thankful I am for everything you and Dad have done for us 4 kids, and I have no doubt you'll continually do from above, while no words in this world will ever be enough to show you our true appreciation. All I've ever wanted to do is make Mum and Dad proud. Mum, I know there were many times I'd let you down, done stupid shit and pissed you off. Overall, I hope you can look down with Pap and tell each other how proud you are. I know when you'd taken your final breath, a massive part of me also left. And I don't think it can ever be replaced. It's common knowledge that one of Mum's biggest fears was how I was going to be after Mum had called it time. I promised you during our last conversation I will be okay, and I stick fat with that, Mum. I can't promise when that time will be, but I do promise with time I will be okay. I believed you raised us with tough love to set us up for success during a time like this. I never thought I'd say it, but I'd give anything for you to yell at me one last time. I'll miss the headaches you and your 2 sisters would give everyone just from you 3 having a conversation. I'll miss sitting in the shed with you having a can and a little J, listen to you tell me how you had all the world problems worked out. But most of all, I'll just miss being able to call you when I get myself in a pickle, which happens more often than not. I'm not too sure the heavens are ready for both you and Pap, but I'm sure Pap had his baby girl a can of double black waiting at the pearly white gates for you. Mum, you're a true inspiration. You always stuck true to yourself and never changed for anyone. In your famous words, if they can't accept us for us, they can go and get fucked. Just like every time I'd fly back to New South Wales to go back home, I'd never say goodbye. It was always, I'll see you soon. This isn't a goodbye, Mum, but I'll see you soon. They say in life nothing's guaranteed, which seems to be pretty bung on. But Mum, one thing I can guarantee you is tonight there'll be endless double blacks drunk, endless stories, and lots of little oneies down on the back deck. Thank you for everything, Mum. I love you.
could stay awake just to hear you breathing. Watch you smile while you are sleeping, while you're far away and dreaming. I could spend my life in this sweet surrender. I could stay lost in this moment forever. Every moment spent with you is a moment I treasure. Don't wanna close my eyes, I don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream would never do. I still miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. Lying close to you, feeling your heart beating, and I'm wondering what you're dreaming, wondering if it's me you're seeing. And then I kiss your eyes and thank God we're together. And I just wanna stay with you in this moment forever, forever and ever. I don't wanna close my eyes, I don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream would never do. I still miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. I don't wanna miss one smile, I don't wanna miss one kiss. I just wanna be with you, right here with you, just like this. I just wanna hold you close, I feel your heart so close to mine, and just stay here in this moment for all the rest of time. Don't wanna close my eyes, don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream would never do. I still miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. I don't wanna close my eyes, I don't wanna fall asleep, 'cause I miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. 'Cause even when I dream of you, the sweetest dream will never do. But I still miss you, baby, and I don't wanna miss a thing. Don't wanna close my eyes, I don't wanna fall asleep, yeah. I don't wanna miss a thing.
Is yours, Kira? Oh, well. We're all related. It's an interesting thing to have to do, isn't it? To draw on all your memories, your core memories, and speak about them. And under a bit of a time crunch, I think everyone that's spoken today has been extremely raw and vulnerable and we appreciate everyone participating. You know exactly what you meant to Mum. You should be incredibly proud of you. Oh, shit. Gran. Our Gran. Everybody's Gran. Not just Gran, though. A parent, a mother, and such a huge part of all of our lives. More microwave party pies than you can poke a stick at. It's not supposed to happen this way. To outlive one of your children must bring the most incredible heartbreak possible. I know that you already do, but we need you to know from all of us, everybody in this room here today, we're all here for you. We'll take care of each other, and like we always have, we'll carry on. I love you, Gran. We all love you. Dad, so proud to be your son. I'm sorry that your teammate, your wife, and the mother of your children, your life partner, has been taken from you. I want you to carry on knowing that all the best bits, and some of the worst, from Mum are all in all four of your children. You'll always see that come out in us. Mum will always be with you, and so will we. I love you, mate. Here and now, we will cry, we will be sad, and we have lost someone. We will miss everything that Romea, Mum, was to all of us as individuals. What we should know, and what she'd want us to know, and what gives me comfort in this moment is knowing that she isn't crying. She isn't worried about Bodhi, where he's going to get his next meal. She's not in pain anymore. She bravely held on for us to be here with her, and when she knew we were together, she left us that way, with each other. Look around the room, hold on to your loved ones, and as Mum would all say, we really are too blessed to be stressed. We love you, Mum.